I would love to. Good afternoon, everyone. I am so pleased to be able to share this time with you this afternoon, and I hope that you are all doing well wherever you are in this moment. We are so excited to get to spend some time this afternoon talking about what's going on in our school districts. And not only do I want to thank you, Bobby, for your continued leadership of the chamber and the blessing that our partnership is to Klein Isd, but most certainly I also want to thank Keith for your continued leadership at Methodist Willowbrook. You have been such a faithful friend to Klein Isd, not only supporting everything from our student athletes to our clinical rotations for our students and just being a wonderful thought partner as we've navigated the last 18 months together. So very, very appreciative of the opportunity to continue partnering with you both. But in terms of Klein Isd, I just want to share with you all how things are going and give you a quick update, as I know that my friends, Dr. Watson and Dr. Goffney, will do as well for their districts, and very, very grateful to have such wonderful colleagues and neighbors here in Klein Isd and Aldine and Spring. And I know we all cheer for one another and root for one another. We're all focused on doing our absolute best for our students every single day. So for those of y'all who may not be as familiar with Klein Isd, I just like to remind everybody we're a district of over 53,000 students. We have 5 comprehensive high schools, 10 intermediate schools, 33 elementary schools, a high school of choice, and 1 alternative and therapeutic program. We are so thankful that we have so many families that continue to come to Klein Isd and want to live here and raise their families there. And I'm one of those families. So my husband, Brian, and I are so grateful to be parents in Klein Isd and to get to experience the benefit of this wonderful place firsthand in our home. But one of the things that makes us so proud in our school district is not that we're the 16th largest school district in the state of Texas, but more importantly, we're the biggest little school district on earth, because we're so committed to making sure that we never become a large impersonal school district, but that we make sure that everyone in Klein Isd feels like they are part of what we call the Klein family. We want to know every one of our students by name, strength, and need, and we want to care for our employees and the 250,000 folks that call Klein Isd our home like they're part of our family. I could not do that as the superintendent if I did not have the best school board anywhere in the state of Texas and beyond. I am so grateful to serve along such servant leaders who have the heart of the community and our students just right at the core of everything that they do. I'm so proud that our board is comprised of people who many have grown up here. They went to school here, and they are raising their own children here, along with former educators who have served in the school district, along with current parents and grandparents. So this board of trustees is absolutely outstanding, and it's my great joy. I know several of them are joining us this afternoon. It's just another example of their commitment, not only to Klein Isd, but to our community as a whole. So very, very grateful for the excellent leadership of our school board. I'm also, as Keith mentioned, we're so proud that we are the National District of the Year. Klein Isd went toe-to-toe with districts across the nation. Are so thankful that we came out on top, and that's really a credit to all of our wonderful teachers in our classrooms who continue our tradition of excellence and innovation in teaching and learning. We also celebrate that we're committed to making sure that students have every option available to them when they exit with their purpose. And so to that end, we have over 200 pathway courses available to our students and over 50 certification programs. So industry level certifications that our students can receive while they're here with us in high school in Klein Isd. Specifically, we have several advanced pathways where students earn their associate's degree before they even earn their high school diploma. And so very grateful for our advanced nursing pathway, our honors college in partnership with Lone Star University Park. And I know that they're one of our sponsors today. So I always like to give a shout out to Shaw and say thank you to him for his leadership and the partnership we enjoy with Lone Star University Park. We also have our global business pathway, our geospatial engineering pathway, and then of course our international baccalaureate program. And we're proud that at every one of our high schools, we have one of these advanced pathways available for our students, and that these pathways are available to any student within the Klein Isd school district, regardless of where they live. We're also so proud that this year, also in partnership with Lone Star University Park, we're opening up our first early college high school at Vistas. This is a program specifically for many of our students who will be the first in their families to get college hours and to become first generation, not only high school graduates, but hopefully college graduates as well. So we're excited about that newest addition to our pathways in Klein ISD. We also know that we don't want the pathways just to start at the high school level. We want to make sure that from the time students enter our care with their promise, that we are nurturing that promise. So proud to offer dual language pathways beginning in kindergarten in Klein ISD. This gives our students the opportunity to learn both English and Spanish at the same time, and that's whether they're a native Spanish speaker or a native English speaker. These students become truly bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural, and we're really proud of that. And another fun piece of this is once they make it all the way through those elementary years in our pathway, they actually have high school credit for a foreign language. So that is really exciting for our students, that by the time they leave 5th grade, they can already have a high school credit. We also have advanced pathways K-8 for math, science, and English language arts and the humanities. This allows our students to start their biology and algebra 1 actually at the intermediate level instead of at the high school level, which frees up more space as they continue to make their way towards their purpose for other kinds of learning opportunities, whether that's being part of those clinical rotations I mentioned at the hospital, doing partnerships with tier 1 universities across the country, or having additional space for more dual credit opportunities that help their families or whoever's going to be paying for the next chapter of their education save considerable funds, which is always appreciated by everyone. Additionally, we just continue to celebrate that we have more students than ever in Klein ISD enrolled in our advanced coursework, as well as not only are they enrolled in those opportunities, but more students than ever are succeeding. So really excited to see our students already getting access to that next chapter of their education even before they leave our care in Klein ISD. Additionally, it was mentioned before, we're so grateful that the Houston Business Journal continues to recognize Klein ISD. We are the only school district ever to make the list, and we're also the only company to be recognized 2 years in a row. And then over there on the right, you can see something very exciting that just happened. We're so proud. All of our high schools have an ROTC program for our students who are interested in serving our nation in the armed forces or the military. And our program, our ROTC program at Klein High School, just became one of only 10 ROTC units in the nation to be one of the first ever space ROTC programs. So very excited to see what our students do with that really outstanding opportunity, only available to 10 districts in the nation. We also are very committed to our tradition of excellence and innovation, not only in academics, but also in the arts and athletics. We have been named the best community for music education for 10 consecutive years. We're also a district of distinction for the visual arts, which means we're in the top 2% of all districts in the state of Texas. And then, of course, I'm sure you have seen, we continue to excel in athletics. We're very proud of our state champions in wrestling, swimming, track and field, volleyball finals, and basketball. And it's just wonderful to see our young student athletes being able to compete and succeed at the highest level across the state. Also, we're very committed to character education in Klein ISD. We certainly want our students to be excelling academically and in the arts and in athletics. And we also want to make sure that they are outstanding young people who will be wonderful neighbors in our communities and excellent citizens. And so we're very proud that we have multiple campuses who have been recognized at the national level for being national schools of character, which is a very rigorous selection process, as well as state schools of character and schools that have received promising practices along those lines of intentionally investing in the character of our young people. We're also one of only 3 districts in the state of Texas to be named a model family engagement district. We're so fortunate to have such excellent families in Klein ISD who are committed to their children's education and who want to partner with us in making sure that they ultimately exit with their purpose. And then, of course, we definitely want to always give a shout out to our outstanding Klein Police Department. Klein ISD was the first school district to have a police department in the state of Texas. And so I always like to brag on our Klein Police Department by saying they were the first and they're the best. And our chief of police, David Kimberly, he is currently the president of all of the school police chiefs. And so I call him the chief of the chiefs. I'm very fortunate to continue having their care for our students. Also very fortunate that they continue to advance their contributions to our district. Our police department has just made sure that our officers have their EMT training and certification, and God forbid, in the case that we need them to have that, they will be prepared to be able to take care of our students and our staff. And then finally, I just want to celebrate the class of 2021. For the first time in 44 years, our students got to graduate right here at home in Klein Isd at Klein Memorial Stadium. So proud of them, specifically not only for this huge milestone, but also they just set a new record, the class of 2021, over $45 million in student scholarships for that class. So very glad to see that people want to continue investing in our students in Klein Isd even after they leave our care in the school district. So grateful as well that with all of the things that are entrusted to us, we continue to take good care of our fiscal resources. And I always like to give a shout out to the best CEO in the state of Texas, Dan Schaefer, who's also part of the chamber board. And I just wanted to celebrate that just like academically schools have an accountability rating, we have that also for the way that we manage our resources and our finances. And so Klein Isd is proud to say that this last time we got 100 out of 100 points. So you can't do better than that. And I'm really proud of our team for the way that they work so hard to take care of the resources that are entrusted to us. And then finally, just to wrap up, I want to continue to say thank you to all of you who live in Klein Isd, who invested your energy and support in the 2015 bond program. Over 76% of people voted for the 2015 bond, and that made possible for us in a fast growth school district, having been a fast growth school district now for a couple of decades and continuing to be one. We, of course, need more space to serve our students. So Klein Cain High School, Hophius Intermediate, Fox Elementary were new buildings made possible by that support. Additionally, we have some buildings in our district that are over 50 years old now. We want to make sure that every student has access to state-of-the-art facilities. So being able to expand our career and technical offerings, particularly at Klein Forest High School, as well as our continued investment in the arts for both Klein Oak having significant renovations along with Klein Collins. And then also, of course, as I mentioned earlier, with outstanding Klein Police Department, we always invest in security in Klein Isd. And we're very thankful that the 2015 bond has made many upgrades around security possible for all of us. And on top of this, we did it all by continuing to lower the tax rate. So another shout out to the best board of trustees in the state of Texas, who has continued to lower the tax rate. We currently enjoy in Klein Isd the lowest tax rate we've had in the last 10 years. So just continuing in Klein Isd to celebrate that we are here to serve our students, to serve our families, to make sure that every student exits with their purpose. And then while I have the opportunity, if you want to continue to hear about the great things happening in Klein Isd, there's lots of different ways to connect with us on social, on FamilyNet. So this is our one-stop shop for all things family and Klein Isd. And so folks are very welcome to always see things in one place. It makes it very easy for our moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas to find what they need for their students on FamilyNet. And then finally, if you're interested in getting together regularly to talk about things that impact our students, our schools, and our community, we would invite you to join our Klein Leadership Coalition. We keep everyone posted on different things that could have a significant impact on the Klein Independent School District, and we love working in partnership to make sure that Klein Isd stays a great place to live and to learn. So with that, we're excited for this coming school year, and we look forward to moving forward to the best yet in Klein Isd.
Dr. McGowan, thank you very much. Looks like Klein's firing on all cylinders. So next up, we have Dr. Goffney, Aldine ISD. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Oh, wow. It's such an honor to be on this panel with Dr. McGowan and Dr. Watson, two of my colleagues that I have high esteem for. And it's certainly an honor to be able to take a moment to share with the community the great things that are happening in Aldine as we are looking forward. I cannot continue without thanking my board members. I know our board president, Paul Shanklin, our board secretary, she's also on, Ms. Connie Esparza, and many of our members of our team are on. So thank you all for joining us. You know, as each time I come to an event like this, I constantly think about the fact that I was named superintendent in 2018. And so I'm still telling everyone that I'm new because I feel like COVID took 16 of those months. So I'm still new, right? And when I think about it, I want y'all to just go back with me for a second. I was named superintendent in 2018. Our district had gone through reconfiguration, boundary changes, and we were finishing up a bond. So as the new superintendent, we had to open 8 new schools. And so that was 2018. And then, you know, I'm just a country girl and I always begin with that. But I'm in the city and 2019 starts, and then there's Hurricane Imelda. And then as we're getting through with Hurricane Imelda, let me just tell you, I learned a whole lot about Houston with Hurricane Imelda. I'm sure Dr. Watson will remember how we were in the war room during our Holsworth experience, trying to figure out how to gauge things back home. And then in 2020, remember the water main break in the city of Houston? And of course, we remember March 6th, that Friday of spring break that never ended because COVID-19 had invaded. It was crazy, and it's been crazy every single year. And then as we were trying to think about how we were going to bring our kids back in 2020, and we phased them in. And of course, we had the guiding principle, we were going to go fast as we can, but as slow as we must. Think about it. In the Houston area, no matter if you're in Klein, you're in Spring, or for sure in Aldine, the one thing I know for sure is that we can do hard things. Oh, and I cannot forget about the ice storms last spring. Remember that? I didn't even know winter storms were named, and it was Winter Storm Uri. But our educators, our people, our staff, the people who are watching this call, our community, everybody came together. And it's just been amazing to see how we do hard things. And so as we thought about preparing for this presentation and looking at where we've been and where we are and where we're going and doing it in a quick way, I couldn't help but wonder and take you all back on the fact that in 2018, New Sue, 2019 launched our strategic priorities, our strategic plan. And then of course, 2020, COVID hit. And it would have been easy when COVID hit to become so focused on COVID that we couldn't do what was right by kids. But in Aldine, what we said was, we're going to prioritize safety, but we were not going to sacrifice learning. And before COVID, we were outpacing the whole state in progress. And post-COVID, we'll be doing the same, because during COVID, we've done the work. And so as we think about our 5 strategic priorities, we had 5 areas: student achievement, school culture, mission-driven leadership, organizational efficiency, and community engagement and outreach. And so as we think about student achievement, you know, our district is 111 square miles. Now, don't ask me where Klein ends and Spring ends or Aldine begins, but I know we're 111 square miles. And what I can tell you is the 67,000 students that we're in charge of, the nearly 10,000 employees that we have, we want to make sure that we continue to be the very best choice for all of the students and all of the people who choose to live and reside and call Aldine home. And so we're constantly thinking about ways that we can not just have great schools on this side or great schools on that side. We want our entire district, no matter where you live, where your zip code is, you can attend a great school in Aldine. And so very proud of the fact that we're a part of the system of great schools. We were selected by TEA, and we've been thinking about how do we create choices, because choice isn't going away. It's not, but we have to create ways in which we can continue to be the best choice. And we have some excellent choices, whether you are focused on CTE. And while we offer CTE across our district, we have a campus, Blanton CTE, that opened in 2018. That's all the pathways that you would love to experience and explore. And even on our high school campuses, Davis High School, if you're interested in aviation, you can go and learn to fly a plane. And then, you know, we have a shortage of teachers, and I'm sure Spring and Klein can both help and say amen to this. And so guess what? We're growing our own. We have Rose Avalos P-Tech, and you can come in as a freshman and begin training to become a teacher. And when you leave Avalos, you go to Lone Star and go on, and we're training up our teachers now, because part of Avalos P-Tech, one of our pathways is education. We've created other opportunities as well, because we recognize that there are many ways to fight choice. But as we think about being the best choice, we're creating choices here in Aldine ISD. And let me tell you, we're getting a lot of excitement about it, because not only are we strengthening our magnet and our IB and our dual language immersion programs and putting them across our district, so zip code doesn't determine what you have access to, but we're also looking at ways that we can meet the needs of students in a unique way. We opened up with the 10th one in the state of Texas, the Young Women's Leadership Academy, and you can go and read about them because they're all highly acclaimed. And the response has been tremendous to see young women who are excited about joining this network. And we're launching that next year, this coming year. And so I can't wait to see them on the first day of school. In addition, we recognize that a lot of our students, you know, I love the Klein Isd, they come with a promise. Well, we have some promising students who need some unique opportunities, and we're so excited about our school, La Promesa. It's going to be a newcomer academy, and I'm telling you, the response has been tremendous, and we're really excited about that as well. I mentioned young women's, and we're going to launch young men's next year. And so that's student achievement, that's our first priority. And so when we think about what can we do to make sure that we continue to not just be blindsided or to know for sure that we're preparing our students to graduate and have choices and opportunities. And one of those things that we are laser focused on in Aldine is to make sure our students are reading on grade level, not reading to prepare for a test, but truly learning how to read. And that's been a major priority. During COVID, we launched high quality instructional materials and a new approach to literacy, one that's grounded in research and explicitly teaching students how to read and how to build that background knowledge that many of our kids don't come with. In addition, we're very excited and really excited this year because prior to COVID, we had launched a 3-year-old program, and we've been able to extend that. And I'm telling you, it has been phenomenal during the post-COVID. It's not really post-COVID, but during these COVID times to see the response of our earliest learners. So we're really excited about that. But ultimately, more than anything, we just want to make sure, you know, I said it since day one, and I say it today, and I'll continue to say it tomorrow. We want to make sure our kids are graduating more than a high school diploma. We want them graduating with choices and opportunities. And in order for us to do that, we have to become hyper-focused in ensuring that they have what they need. We're excited about the expansion, and I think my other colleagues are members of Emerge. It was weird. I was going to have to go on a list and have to come behind Klein, but I'm so thankful for having a great team, and we were able to get in. And so now Emerge is on every one of our campuses, and that is in addition to all the other college access programs that we have. Because ultimately, in Aldine, and you're here, it's college for all. We want every single student to graduate with not just a high school diploma and choices and opportunities, but one way we can guarantee that is every kid, every single student graduates with 6 hours of credit. That's our first priority, and that's the one I'll spend the most on, but I would be remiss if during these times I didn't mention what we're doing for school culture. You see, our strategic plan, it outlined the need to focus on maximizing student engagement and increasing student culture, and we've done that. We launched our SEL department during the pandemic, and we've grown it in response, but not just because of that, but because of the needs of our students, our teachers, and our staff and our families. Their focus last year was responding to our students and staff, and this year is going to be, as our students return, we recognize that many of them are experiencing some things that they're going to need additional assistance on, and we're excited about that. The approach supports the whole student's growth and nurtures students' well-being. You know, school is more than the 3 R's. The mind, the body, and heart are just as important to increase student outcomes. And our SEL department is making sure that our kids feel safe, that our students feel comfortable taking risks, and that they're more willing to form meaningful relationships, all of which help with make a difference in the student's growth. Our third one, of course, is my favorite. I couldn't start with it because student achievement is the heart of all we think, say, and do, but mission-driven leadership. You know, leadership matters, and it matters at every single level. And we launched our leadership definition through our Holsworth work a couple of years ago. We actually were in the same cohort as Spring. And before Holsworth, leadership mattering was just a mantra. But now it is how we coach, train, and select leaders, and it's embedded in all of our job descriptions, interview questions, everything. Because we want to not only just lead, but we want to connect, we want to inspire, and we want to have an impact. We've launched our talent pipeline, so we're building up leaders in our district. In addition, we've established partnerships with local universities like Sam Houston, U of H, UH Downtown, Prairie View, you name it, we're open because we want to train up not only our future teachers, but our future leaders. Our fourth priority, of course, is organizational efficiency. You see, I know if I can just keep it honest, I'm gonna see how many people are on. There are about 100 participants, but I think this may resonate with you all too, but if it doesn't, forgive me. I am sick of COVID. I am. I promise you, I'm sick of COVID. It's touched my family, it's touched our district, it's touched so many in so many ways that we will never forget this moment. But what I'm proud of is the work that we've been able to do in spite of COVID, because if it had not been for COVID, and I hate to say this, but I believe in speaking truth to power, our district would not have been one-to-one. We, 67,000 kids, we went one-to-one during COVID, and it took a host of different support. We have an amazing community, amazing city, and all those who came through to make sure and address the needs of our students. And I'm so proud of that work. So as we think about organizational efficiency and expand into our blended learning program, we're really excited about what that's going to mean for learning as we move forward. In addition, we're very proud of how our staff responded during some challenging times, and very proud that we were able to give a one-time incentive and retention payment for them going above and beyond during an unprecedented year. Again, just super excited and super thankful for us not making COVID the new excuse for not moving forward in ways that we should move to meet the needs of our students. And last but certainly not least, our final priority was community engagement, or is community engagement and outreach. We launched a family and community engagement office. Dr. Escalante, y'all know her. You don't know that you know her, Spring and Klein, but she led our efforts to, we ended up collecting for the NAM toy drive. Remember, Mr. President, Dr. Watson, that was led by Dr. Escalante and her team, and it was a newly formed team at the time. But I'm so excited that our FACE department has partnered with districts and community partners. They've hosted parent training and sessions and so many different events to meet so many different needs, and very proud of that. But we estimate about 15,000 parents and guardians have been engaged through our family and community engagement offices, so we're proud of that. As we think about ways that we engage with our families, I'm telling you, coming in 2018, it was hashtag All In for Aldine. The next year was We Are Aldine. Last year was Aldine Anywhere. This year is Aldine Forward. If you go on social media, Instagram, Facebook, you go on Twitter, anywhere you go, you're going to be able to learn about and hear about the great things that are happening in Aldine, and I hope that you would. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we recognize that we've been going through some unprecedented circumstances. And pre-COVID, we were outpacing everyone. And during COVID, we had to pause a little bit and meet the needs of our students and focus on safety and focus on making sure and meeting their needs. But as we look forward to welcoming our students back, we are focused on 4 T's: Tier 1 instruction, time, talent, and targeted supports. And while I don't have time to go over each one of them, I want any families or any that are out there who are wondering, what are you going to do for my child who may not be where they should be because of COVID and the experience that was spent outside the classroom? But I want you all to know that we're going to make sure, and we're hyper focused on meeting not only our students' social and emotional needs, but also making sure that we have high quality instructional materials in front of them, that we have talented teachers in front of them, that we have the supports that are necessary to make sure that if there are any gaps, that we address them, while also moving forward and adding value to every single child. We are really excited about what's happening in Aldine. We know that the time has truly been unprecedented since I arrived, but I'm super excited to lead in a district that loves kids, to lead in a district that loves families, and to lead in a district that's focused on making sure that every child, every single one, graduates with more than a high school diploma, but with choices and opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Goffney. I always am in awe and in admiration when I see a leader attached to their strategic initiatives and their priorities, and you adhere to those and you lead by those. That's impressive. So thank you very much. That's wonderful. Dr. Watson, all right, bring it up the rear. Take it away.
Okay, thank you very much. It is such a blessing to be here with you all today. Much like all the other districts, we continue to share all the great things that are happening. I could not get started without paying tribute to my board. I have a wonderful board. I thank you all so much for carrying out the vision of Spring ISD and leading in a strong way. With that comes a great team as well. I'm surrounded by a great cabinet who I know is listening as well, with a great community. So thank you all so much for all that you do. Just a little bit about Spring. We have a little over 33,000 students, a little over 5,000 students staff. With that, we have 43 campuses, which comprise of 26 elementary schools, 1 pre-K-8 school, 8 middle schools, 9 ninth grade centers, and 1 high school. We're also very proud to have 31 dual credit classes that we offer. We have the largest Navy JRTC program in Texas, and the most decorated and the one that gets the most awards. In addition to that, we've been continuing to move forward in our advanced placement offerings, as well as in 2020, we awarded over $117 million worth of scholarships. And so we're excited that our students were able to get out and to get those scholarships. We're going to continue to move forward within that. In Spring ISD, we do a lot of work in really wanting to make sure that we have financial transparency as well. And we were just awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Reporting, in addition to the Certificate for Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And as always, with the great financial leader that we have here, Ms. Ann Westbrooks, we did receive also an A for the first rating in superior achievement as well in finance. As we continue to look forward, one of the things that I would be remiss not to call out and to say is our focus on safety. The mere fact that we are on a Zoom call once again for our State of the District with all 3 districts lets us know that there's something going on that prevents us all from being together. And so probably what you've seen just in the media yesterday or the day before, as of Monday, we will be mandating masks for all of our staff and all of our families. In addition to that, we have protocols in place to ensure our families that we are contact tracing. And one of the things that our community asked us for was to contact trace, but they also asked us to make sure that we notified them to let them know the positivity on campuses. In addition to that, we are asking our community and our staff to self-screen. And if you're positive, please stay home, because we want to make sure that we're keeping all of our faculty and our students safe. One of the things led by our Board of Education this past Tuesday night, they did pass a resolution that will allow our employees to use up to 5 days of their personal leave. But after those 5 days, the district will also match those 5 days, letting our staff know that we are putting their safety first and that we do care about them as well. In addition, we've developed so many ongoing partnerships with local hospitals and the Harris County Department of Health that has really worked with us to ensure that we are offering vaccinations for all of the students and families that wish to get those. In addition to that, we will continue to have ongoing testing. To not talk about this would be to believe that it's not there. And once again, I said it's important for us to ensure that everyone in our community is safe. I think at the beginning of the presentation, we talked about Every Child 2020. And just this past year, we ended Every Child 2020, and we have now launched into a new strategic plan that was just shared with our community on Tuesday night. The title of our new strategic plan is called Every Student, Every Teacher, Every Day. Many of you all that are on the call today, that are on this webinar today, know that we've been extremely transparent with our Every Child 2020, and you all have gone alongside of us for 5 years, ensuring not only that we implemented what we said, but we also provided you yearly updates as to where we were each and every year. Well, this plan is going to be none like any other year. Every student, every teacher, every day is a 5-year plan that really continues to focus on why all of the districts are here, which is student outcomes. But more importantly, we are going to focus on equity. In Spring ISD, our board and I, we believe that it is our responsibility to ensure that all students receive the best possible education they can have, and that we create opportunities for excellent, equitable opportunities for all. In addition to that, as we know, across all districts across the country, the social and emotional needs have been a major topic of discussion in local media. We'll continue to focus on well-being, bringing up those opportunities to provide students and staff tools and support that they need to be successful as they transition throughout the day. In addition to that, we are going to be focused on leadership. We believe that every employee in Spring ISD is a leader, regardless of their title and regardless of their salary. In addition to that, many of you already know that Spring ISD has been focusing on opportunities and choice for the past 10 to 15 years. And we're going to continue later on to talk with you just a little bit more about new opportunities and choices that we're offering. And last but not least, engagement. You've heard me say time and time again that our school district is only as strong as our community, and our community is only as strong as our school district. So we will continue to develop engaging opportunities for our community to work with us, to partner with us, to ensure the needs of our community is met. Paramount to that is the establishment of what we call our North Star goal. In Spring ISD, our definition of a Spring ISD graduate is a lifelong learner, a critical thinker, and responsible citizen who displays good character, ready to contribute, compete, and lead in today's global society. So we will continue over the course of our 5-year plan to really define with our community what our North Star goal is as it relates to continued improvements throughout our district. As I talked about earlier, we are excited about the new choice opportunities in Spring ISD. Just this year, we just launched our new early college high school at Decaney, which is our new P-TECH program. In Spring ISD, this is our second early college program. Those of you that know that we already have one, which is our Spring Early College program, which is a nationally rated program here in Spring ISD. We're excited about the partnership that we have with Microsoft and kicking off our new P-TECH program at Decaney. In addition to that, we just launched yesterday the new Clotton Polytechnic Middle School, which also focuses on computer science, animation, and also provides an opportunity for our students to get hands-on experience as they reach their goals. Those of you that are familiar with PVA here in Spring ISD, we also, for 8 years running, have been nominated and received the Best Community and Schools Award. Because of all of the greatness that's happening with our Performing and Visual Arts program, we launched the Bayley Middle School for Performing and Visual Arts. This is a school that will provide those students who have a particular emphasis area or idea that they would like to study more in the area of performing and visual arts an opportunity to really grow and excel in those areas. Yesterday on the news, we were highlighted for opening our new International Studies program at BAML. Our Board of Education has been committed to dual language in Spring ISD. And so once again, we're opening our third dual language program in an international school at BAML. Yesterday, when we walked in and saw the kids as they were sitting there, our pre-K through third grade students were excited and also sharing what they've learned thus far in the dual language programs. This past year, we talked with you about our idea of wanting to open our first IB program. Well, we're pleased to announce in just over a little of a year during the pandemic, we were fully authorized to have our first International Baccalaureate School at Springwoods Village. And so we're extremely excited about that program and all of the world language and the world cultures that school is going to bring for our community. Last but not least, we are extremely proud of Robertson Middle School. Robertson Middle School was just recognized by the Texas Education Agency, as well as the United States Department of Education as a National Blue Ribbon School. This particular award is extremely important because it's not an award that you can apply for. It's an award that you're nominated by the state of Texas, and then you go through a very lengthy application process, and you're only selected by the United States Department of Ed. And so we are so proud to be recognized as one of the best middle schools in the country, Robertson Middle School. Much like my colleague, Dr. Goffney, has mentioned just a few minutes ago, all three of our districts has participated and have actually been recipients of a huge gift from the Holsworth Center. We all have participated in a process to develop our leadership definition. And much like I said earlier, in Spring ISD, we believe every single person is a leader. And so as we've launched our leadership definition, there are three main areas that are paramount in this definition: outcome-driven, service-oriented, and relationship-centered. This particular leadership definition guides us as we set the broad and bold course of action for developing leaders in Spring ISD. Much like many of the organizations that are on the call today, you understand how important it is, especially every time we drive through all three of our communities, we see signs out in the yards or on the windows of the companies saying now hiring. In Spring ISD, it's important for us to look at everyone as a leader and to grow them, to create pathways for each individual to see themselves in one area, but also see themselves growing long-term within the organization. So stay tuned for more information about our leadership definition. Last but not least, we know that all three of our districts have worked hard over the past 19 months, really wanting to make sure that we are meeting the learning needs of all of our students. Paramount to that was our responsibility to let our parents know from a transparent standpoint what we're doing to accelerate the learning for all of our students. To do that, in Spring ISD, we're focusing on 5 key areas: highly effective principals and teachers, an aligned curriculum and ongoing progress measures, maximizing the learning time, high dosage tutoring, safe and secure learning environments. And much like many of the districts that are on the call today, we all are doing this work to ensure any particular learning loss that happened over the course of the pandemic, that we're closing those gaps. And I don't think there's a school in the state of Texas or around the country that doesn't have students that have lost learning as a result of the pandemic. Thank you very much. And I'm so glad to be able to share with you all today.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Wonderful. And I think I saw in that video, you had a student that was accepted to all 7 Ivy League schools. Oh boy, how I feel inadequate. But also I want to also commend you for stepping above the political fray and doing the right thing with the mask mandate. I would arm wrestle Dr. Goffney on honor of who's the most sick of COVID. So I would want this thing to be over more than anyone. So you know, stay safe, folks, and get vaccinated, wear your masks. Let's snuff this thing out once and for all. All right, so time for Q&A, folks. Right now we have 2 questions in the queue. Feel free to ask your questions by entering those into the queue. The first one we have is from Ken Lloyd, and I'm going to rephrase a question a little bit to this, but how are your districts doing to, both in the short term and long term, to address the rapid growth in students that are economically disadvantaged and at risk? Let's go in reverse order from presentations and start with Dr. Watson.
Thank you so much. And I think that question definitely lends itself to one of the slides that I had here in the presentation, is really looking at what our acceleration plan is. Paramount to that is really looking at it from an adult standpoint and not talking about remediation. Remediation means to go back and to really close the gaps and stay there, which means kids that are currently in schools now are not necessarily getting this, the education that they need at the grade level that they need. And so when we look at changes in Spring ISD, our district socioeconomic level and economically disadvantaged percentages have really changed over the past several years. I think right now we're about 87% economically disadvantaged, which really lets you know that our kids need the support. They need quality teachers, they need nimble and flexible teachers, which we have, and they need a curriculum that is consistent across all schools, because we also have one of the highest mobility rates in the state of Texas. Now, when we say that, that's no excuse, but it's important for all of us to really understand that as we're looking at what students need, what school districts need, it really also gives you a view of what's happening in the community that all 3 of our districts are in. With that, we really look at a zero-based budget process here in Spring ISD. And so as we're continuing to look at that process, just recently we began having conversations about how can we change that to have a student-based budget. As you heard me say earlier, our board and I have taken a focus on equity. And when you focus on equity, that means that you can't do the same thing for all kids, that you really have to be able to look at those nuances to see, are there groups of kids that need a little bit more to help them come to the line to be competitive with other students that don't need those things? And so we're going to continue to look at that and to ensure that our students and our staff have what they need.
Thank you. Dr. Goffney, do you have comments?
Do you mind repeating the question? I want to make sure I answer it correctly.
Certainly. So it was, what is your district doing in the short term and long term to address the growth in students that are economically disadvantaged and at risk?
Well, I think I don't have a lot to add to what Dr. Watson said, other than the fact that we have to know and truly believe, as a first-generation student and born in poverty that many on this call probably can imagine, raised by my grandmother who was a housekeeper and my grandfather who mowed lawns for a living. But when I went to school, I had access to great teachers, great leaders, and people who believed that I could learn at the same levels of my affluent peers. And so as we think about and share all the time, it's more than a slogan for us. Zip code is not destiny. And the way we change destiny, the only way we can change the trajectories of lives is through education. And Dr. Watson said it best, we can't do the same thing for all kids. some kids need things differently. And so I alluded to it as we think about how we're going to address the learning loss, unfinished learning, and the needs of all the kids that we serve. Time, giving additional time. And we had an amazing summer camp experience for our students. In addition, we had a jump start for our primary students. And as the school year begins, we'll have evening opportunities for our students to learn, as well as weekends. In addition, talent, we have to have the most talented teachers and leaders in front of our students. And tier one, we cannot remediate our way out of low expectations for students who are Black, brown, and come from situations filled with poverty. We've got to make sure that they have access to quality curriculum, quality teachers, and then move forward. And of course, targeted supports. Many times, and I'm one of them, and I speak about it just so everyone understands and can put a face to it. I had some challenging situations at home, some that many would describe as trauma. But at school, I had access to counselors and those who were able to meet my needs. And consequently, I was able to flourish in a way that has me on this panel today. And I'm not an anomaly. And so I believe that all kids can learn when you have the right people doing the right work for the right reason. So thank you. That's a great question.
Thank you. Dr. McGowan?
Yes, well, I think, one of the things that I've mentioned, I am so proud to hear echoed in my colleague sentiments as well, as we have a common thread that all of us are leading systems where we believe that every student does have promise. Some students come to us and arrive at our doorstep having had that promise really nurtured, and some of them come with broken and empty promises, but all students come into the world with promise. And so making sure that students get access to a high quality early education is absolutely critical to making sure that our students who are both economically disadvantaged and otherwise are able to excel in their education right from the beginning, but also making sure that when they're in our care, they have all these different kinds of opportunities available to them. Each one of these students that comes to us with promise, we work hard to know them by name, strength, and need, which means that we honor the unique gifts, talents, and interests that each individual has. And we want to make sure that within our Klein family, they're able to find pathways to capitalize on that interest. That interest equals energy, and it equals engagement, and it gives them the opportunity to persevere and excel, whether that's going to college, whether that's serving our nation in the military or the armed forces, or whether that's actually getting an industry level certification before they even graduate from Klein Isd. All of these things are game changers for our students. And so just making sure that not only do they get a good jump start through that early education, but all the way through our system, they're all getting an excellent education that really appeals to what's interesting and energizing to them and is of value to the community that they'll live in.
Thank you, Dr. McGowan. This next question is, I'm going to, for the interest of time and with the intent that it will be answered on behalf of all three of you, I'm going to direct this one to Dr. Watson. How beneficial will the new infrastructure bill be for your ISD? And what locations or area of the ISD will need it the most?
Well, I think that's going to be an interesting, my answer is going to be interesting, because I think it's going to be based upon conversations that individuals have with us and all three of our ISDs to determine what it is that we actually need. And so we have not necessarily sat down and had conversations regarding that. And so I'm unable to go into a lot of detail with that at this point.
Okay. So yeah, and I think it's too early to tell to know what's going to come out of those bills and how that money will be distributed. So it's a good question. It's just, I think, maybe a little too early. So next question, and this one I will direct to Dr. McGowan. Not related to any disasters, what is the one initiative all three of you ISDs collaborate on?
So both Dr. Watson and Dr. Goffney mentioned this earlier, but all three of our districts are so proud to be in partnership with the Holsworth Center. And so something that we're all working on together through that partnership with the Holsworth Center is an investment in ensuring that there is an excellent leader in every single school and that there's an excellent leader in every single classroom. And you heard Dr. Watson mention it, making sure that every employee views themselves as a leader and leverages the potential of their impact for the positive on our students. So through that, all of us have developed our leadership profiles. We've worked hard to align that aspirational vision of what excellent leadership looks like throughout our system, whether that's the way that we evaluate our employees, the pipeline work that we do to make sure that we have a deep and ready bench to serve our students at all levels of leadership in the district. And I'd say that has been something that through the years, the three of us have really been able to enjoy and benefit from because of our commitment to the work of the Holdsworth Center.
The only other thing that I would say with that is just this past Christmas, the three of us had an opportunity to partner to ensure all three of our communities had more toys than they could have ever imagined. And so although I'm the one that threw out the challenge as the board chair for the Northwest Assistance Ministries, Aldine did beat us, so to speak, in terms of bringing the most toys, but nevertheless, our communities, all three of our communities were blessed as a result of all three of us and our teams coming together to make sure that kids that did not have toys for Christmas, that they had more than enough.
That's great. That's great. Here's a question I'd like to ask, and this can go to all three of you. There's been a lot of attention around the issue of learning lag as a result of the challenged classroom environments you all have been trying to so diligently compensate for. I guess, multiple phase question. How concerning is the learning lag? And what are you doing to address it? And how, and how long do you think, if you feel it's a real issue, how long you think it will be before we say we're up back to speed or our kids are back to where they should be? I know that's a layman's question. That's my question. So Dr. Goffney, why don't we start with you?
I hadn't heard learning lag, but I like it. Learning lag, but there's been some significant documentable learning loss for the students in our district, and I'm deeply concerned. Which is why I'm excited to welcome all 67,000 students back into our district this upcoming year. We've begun several different things. I alluded to some of them, and I'm excited to report. I talked about time. We have two ADSE campuses, so they began school in early July, and had a phenomenal response. And then everything else comes down to the things that we can control. And I've alluded to them a couple of times: time, talent, tier 1, and targeted supports. And so, because of the situation in our community as it relates to COVID, we're doing more than TA is saying that we have to do to make sure that our parents, we say all the time, when I was a campus principal, I used to tell my staff, we have to make our parents feel welcomed. And so as a district leader, we're doing everything we can to make our parents feel not only welcomed, but feel that our schools are safe. And so we'll be doing more for the safety, but as I said in my presentation, we are going to prioritize safety without sacrificing learning. So virtual learning didn't work for us. And so we are looking forward to welcoming all our students face-to-face. And I believe, because we have talented teachers, we have extraordinary leaders, and we have a plan, and we actually have the resources with the ESSER funds and House Bill 3 funds. We have an opportunity to really go beyond the loss and get to a better place than even before. I truly do believe that, but we can't do that. Remember, I said earlier, I'm the one that's going on record saying I'm sick of COVID, because we need our students back in our schools.
Dr. McGowan.
So in the same way, I don't think you would find an educator anywhere in Texas who is not concerned about learning loss or learning lag. Of course, we want all of our students to achieve at high levels, and we know that there have been circumstances outside of our control that have made it exceptionally difficult to make sure that every student is receiving an excellent education. I tell you what, our teachers, our campus folks, I think that's definitely true in all three districts, have definitely gone above and beyond to take advantage of every opportunity to serve our students, not only during the initial emergency response to the pandemic, but that definitely continues today. In Klein Isd, we've been so fortunate to run numerous summer programs, specifically for students where we had already identified there was significant learning loss. And so just getting a head start on making sure that we catch those kids up on some of the things they may have missed, as well as making sure that they're fully prepared to have an excellent school year this year as we move forward together to the best yet. Additionally, just making sure that we keep our top talent in Klein Isd. You know, the strength of our school district is the outstanding quality of our people. And we're so fortunate in our Klein family to have outstanding leaders, outstanding teachers, very skilled educators who know exactly what to do and have been doing this their entire careers, identifying each student's unique strength and need, and then working to capitalize on those strengths and address those needs. And so we'll continue to do that as well. Of course, we also, not only with the additional time and the outstanding talent in the district, but we also will continue to leverage technology for our students. We know that technology can help to eliminate the barriers of time and space that school districts have traditionally faced. And we certainly had the opportunity to explore that at all new levels last year. So there's a lot of good things that we learned through that experience that we will continue to use, even in serving, of course, all of our in-person students. And as Dr. Goffney mentioned, we cannot wait to welcome our over 53,000 students back into our care less than 1 week from today. So we will continue working very, very hard to make sure that wherever our students are on their learning journey, that we keep the expectations high and we provide them the right levels of support in order to meet their needs.
Thank you. Dr. Watson?
Well, I will let you know, Dr. Goffney and Dr. McGowan, that the students are coming. We started school the other day and they came and our doors were open and they walked in excited. I think both of them kind of summed it up. I think more than anything, the thing that I would want to leave us with is that it is a community responsibility. And as we look at our community and we look at the needs of our community, there is significant learning loss. And I think that's documented here in Spring ISD, but documented across the state. And within that, it's going to be important for us to really think about how and what can we do as a community to meet the needs of our community. Our teachers are phenomenal here in Spring ISD, and some of those small data points that we had that we shared with our board last week regarding what we did during summer school indicate that we are moving in the right direction in terms of acceleration, the type of curriculum that we're using, and the focus and training that our teachers need to really begin to accelerate. And so we're really excited about that. We're going to continue to move towards that. But I want to re-emphasize that this summer, when we began to think about the learning lag, we partnered with the community. Our churches stood up vacation Bible schools, other community organizations stood up events that they could do where they could bring in tutors. We tutored our community volunteers to help us do that. We understand that we're not trying to give our role to anyone else, but it is important to understand that this is a community, and we'll take a community effort to ensure that all of our students are moving forward.
Great, thanks. All right, a couple more questions. This one's kind of near and dear to my heart because I don't know. It's when I was going through high school, the Rotc programs, as we knew them then, and I grew up in a rural school in Colorado, and so we were heavily relied on Rotc at the time, and we saw them being pushed out and diminished over the course of some years. But now what we have what we call CTE, and it's the new version of Rotc on steroids, and it's just back with a vengeance. And I absolutely am in awe and impressed that the CTE is embraced to the level and the resources it's given that it is, because I really think you're setting up a lot of kids for success with that. So the question is, and I'm going to rephrase a little bit here. What is the percentage of, it says, what is the percentage of trade versus college bound? And I'm going to add to that, what are you each seeing in your growth rates in your CTE programs? Let's go with Dr. Goffney.
We are very blessed to have expansive CTE offerings, again, not only at all of our comprehensive high schools, but also at our choice school, Blanton CTE. And that's a really good question because, you know, our goal, and I never parse it out because we want them to do both. I don't know about anyone else, but when I graduated from college, I graduated with a bunch of loans. And so what we're encouraging our students to do is to get to CTE and matriculate through the program so that they can work as a phlebotomist while they're in school so that they don't get loans. So it's not, you're going to go this route and just go to trade, or you're going to go this route and just go to college. Ours are doing it all. My daughter, she's in the teacher program, but she's going to go to college, but she's going through the teacher program. Or we have, so I don't have it parsed out like that. And I'm sure, I know Mr. Thomas is on the call. They'll send me something if it's different, but it's not the way. We don't say kids are in this path and they can't get out. We want them in both. And what we've tried to encourage in our district is to get the go through our CTE program so you can graduate and you get a high wage job while you're in college, and not the high wage job is the end product. So I'm sure my colleagues maybe have some better numbers. If I get something, I'll come back.
Thanks. Dr. Watson.
In Spring ISD, one of the things that we've really focused on is wanting to make sure that our kids have those opportunities and choices. And so part of that is focusing on college, which we've really been able to develop our early college programs, which give students opportunity to earn earn an associate's degree if they choose, and their high school diploma. But more importantly than that are those pathways, which is giving them opportunity to experiment and to get certificates and to help them understand that it's okay to get a certificate, because some of those programs you can go and make more money and have less student debt than you would if you went to college. And so for us, we're really focusing on the choice, providing that choice for students, and really following those opportunities to ensure our kids are actually meeting the expectations. Just recently, this year, we kicked off our barbering program at Westfield. It's something that not only our students have been asking for, the parents in the community have been asking for, but one of the differences that we're looking at with those CTE programs is, okay, maybe you want to get a certificate to be a barber or a cosmetologist, but we also expose them to the college and tack on an associate's degree with it. So not only can you cut in the barbershop, but you can own the barbershop. You learn those business fundamentals to where maybe you're connecting that with chemistry and you're making product. It's interesting, as we were developing our barber program, we partnered with Chi, which just so happens to be in Spring. And I've learned through my three girls that Chi has these great flat irons, I guess. I didn't know anything about them, but I was meeting with the guy over at Chi, and they were like, did you get a flat iron? I'm like, no. So I kind of got off on a tangent. But anyway, really working with them to understand there's chemicals behind the products that you use. Let's not just regulate it to getting a certificate to be a barber, but let's provide the business skills to own the barbershop, to maybe develop new chemicals, and then also get the degree. And so we're excited about those opportunities, but we really want to broaden their horizons more than just the minimal.
Thank you. I got to tell you a little story. Share a little bit about myself as I press my own clothes. And I bought a Chi iron about 3 years ago. And I got to tell you what, I didn't know they were here. I got to tell you, it's the best damn iron I've ever owned. And when I found out they were here, I got all excited.
So
I'm headed
she
down the
makes an iron?
Yes.
I did not know. Oh, I was like, curling. I have the curling iron.
No, steam iron. All right, last question, and this, Dr. Watson, this was aimed at you, and we can't get out of this without getting a little close to the third rail. And it's about the mask mandate. Do you expect any repercussions from that from the state? And if so, what do you believe that might be?
So we expect, in the life of a superintendent, anything can happen at any given day. But this time last year, at one of the events, I think it was a chamber event, we talked with you about our safety protocols. Last year, I stood before our entire Spring ISD community. I was on the news. We had various programs that I presented in, and I supported local, state, and national leaders who wanted us to stand up in front of our communities and to let them know how important it was for every single person to wear a mask. We all stood before them and told them that if you wear a mask, it is the best line of defense to target the COVID virus. I would be a hypocrite if I stood before those same people and said it didn't matter right now.
Great answer. Thank you very much. So that wraps it up. If any of you have any last few comments you want to make, be my guest. If not, we'll say adieu and I just want to, once again, I want to thank you all for your leadership. I just feel so honored to know that we're amongst, that our kids are so well taken care of, and the wonderful things that you're doing for Northwest Harris County with your school districts. I hope you realize how much it means to the community. And for my economic development lenses and trying to attract residents and businesses to this community, it means everything. So thank you very much. So, all right, everybody. Next time we'll do this in person. In the meantime, have a great time and good luck with your fall semesters, okay? All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.